Good evening, good morrow, and good day, and welcome to another edition of Slice and Dice here with the next campaign diary, talking all about everything that happened in the last two sessions of the Many Lands campaign. Now, you may be wondering, I've phrased it slightly differently to start with by talking about the Many Lands campaign separately from just the Slice and Dice general brand. And that's because this week we announced that we have a second campaign starting, which is all very exciting. That is The Cage. Now, that dropped our first session, the session 0 of that campaign, dropped on our YouTube channel. So make sure, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our YouTube. There's a link to it on our Twitch page. Just click catch up with the YouTube emblem and you'll find it no problem. You'll head straight on over to our YouTube channel, where you can subscribe and you'll be notified straight away when a new video drops. Now, I will be uploading the Cage sessions up onto Twitch as well, but they won't be live streams like they are for the Many Lands campaign. So now it's not just Slice and Dice, it's the Slice and Dice Network, which is it's quite exciting. can't lie about that. That's it's really cool stuff. And a bonus with The Cage, it's a completely separate campaign. It's got a separate DM. We've got a whole new roster of characters and players, of course, with the one constant being myself, although not as DM this time, as a player, and playing a wizard, no less, for the first time, I might add. So if you guys are watching along with The Cage and have played a wizard in D&D or are thinking about playing a wizard, then hopefully I can be of some assistance with that. Or if you've played one before and you have recommendations, I'm sure you do, those of you who play wizards, because there are a lot of ways to play a wizard. Get your suggestions in to me. I very much welcome your feedback and expert knowledge out there, you guys, because I know that many of you out there will know more about the class than I do. So it should be good fun. We can, those of you who haven't played it before, can learn together with me. But enough about that. Let's talk about what's been going on in our own flagship campaign, the Many Lands campaign here on the channel, what happened in the last two sessions. So it's all been building up because I hadn't actually planned it this way, but it seems that session 50, because it's our 50th session next week on Monday, so the half century, got to be a big one. And although we don't plan these things out, we've kind of left at a good cliffhanger moment for potentially some really interesting shenanigans to kick off at the beginning of next session. But how do we get to that point? Basically, let's go back over, starting with session 48 and going through session 49, just to give you some broad strokes on what's been happening, but equally what's been going on behind the scenes, things that maybe the characters may have missed and not picked up on, and other sort of things that are at play. I'll try not to be too spoilery with it. Don't want to give away too much of the game, but give you certainly a little bit more of an insight that you may not have got just from playing through the session. So, in session 48, it was really when the group's plan came into action that they wanted to capture and surprise these would-be abductors, these flying birds that have been going around abducting small folk from the town of Hilberg, small folk and children, because they're about the same sort of height. So halflings, gnomes, and human children, because they're roughly around the same kind of height. As the players have now ascertained, it seems that these creatures were looking for a small creature that perhaps they were looking for Jackburn Winklebottom, the gnome who disappeared from Flaming Jack's, his own establishment, when it was burned to the ground by the Red Mages, who were after the bone dagger that he's had on display behind the bar. So he took the dagger with him and went underground to hiding. And it seems that since then, these creatures, as it turns out, bird people, or Aarakocra, if those of you who aren't familiar with the Aarakocra, they are a playable race which first came about in in this edition, they first came about in the Elemental Evil Player's Companion, which is a free document, so you can get a hold of that for free and have Aarakocra as a playable race. It's one of the few playable races that you get a flying speed innately of 50 feet per round, which is pretty darn cool. And you also get, as well as other abilities, you get bonuses to dexterity and to wisdom, making them ideal candidates for monks. And it just so happens that these Aarakocra are monks. They're from this rumoured, very secretive monastic order in a place called the Eyrie up in the mountains somewhere. And it just so happened that Brucon had come across in his research one old battered tome that spoke of such a monastery, though no other records have mentioned it at all. That's how removed from society it appears to be. But apparently it does exist for the characters, these Aarakocra that came in as would-be abductors. Were soon apprehended by the party, thanks in no small part to some great planning, as Seth gave the potion of flying that he had to Brucon, because Brucon, being a very fast dwarf anyway, is then going to be even faster when he's clicked his boots of speed, and that in combination with the potion of flying is just all kinds of crazy, and it worked a treat. Unfortunately, there's only one use for that potion, so that's been used, but used to great effect, because it meant that Brucon could single-handedly bring down one of the two Aarakocra, and the second one then quickly surrendered after Leobrin's quick thinking and using the tongues spell that he has to communicate with that creature. So it was some very good planning by the party, but it also could have avoided a massive problem. That being that these Aarakocra don't speak common; they only speak Aarakocran and one other language which hasn't been mentioned yet. So there was obviously going to be a translation problem. Happily, Leobrin had the tongue spell, and therefore he could communicate with them. Otherwise, there could have been all kinds of things going wrong, and they wouldn't have got the leads that they did from these flying creatures, that they are part of a monastic order. And not only that, but they are being forced to abduct these smaller people by a gang of Manticores who have recently taken over the Eyrie. There's whispers, it was mentioned in the last two sessions, that perhaps there is something that is guiding the Manticores, something even more powerful. But we have not discussed more of that just yet. But yes, the Manticores are working for someone. But who? Or something. But who? But what could it be? Obviously, that will all be revealed later on. But these Manticore have a drive. There is a leader of sorts amongst the Manticores themselves, because, I mean, it's quite rare to have such a large group of Manticores all together. In fact, we probably will talk a bit more about the Manticores when we get to it. I'll pull out the monster manual and we'll have a quick look at the Manticores and what they're like, what their characteristics are, just to kind of see if that gives you a few more tidbits into what we can expect going forward with them. So anyway, once they had apprehended these two Aarakocra, one of which is called Kerr, and the other one, which hasn't been named yet because they haven't asked, and I haven't thought of one, have been, I'd say, willing captives. They have been very cooperative with the group, but equally, I think our group are sort of starting now to recognise that there are larger things at play than they can handle on their own, and so reaching out to other organisations seems kind of starting to move in that direction. I appreciate that some of the characters in the group, are more lone wolf types. Seth, for instance, like to do things off their own back rather than being beholden unto others. But allies will be useful, of course, and there is a bigger game afoot, which these heroes are a part of, and so they're going to need help with some of the things that are going on. If there are as many artifacts or items that the Red Mages are after, because they've only, I think, scratched the surface and worked out that there are quite a lot of these fingers, these bone daggers, to find. There are other items in addition to that which they need to find as well, and to get all these things, they can't do it all alone. They're going to have to reach out to others, and so the first tentative steps in that direction lead them to the Moonrunners, who obviously are tied in with these abducted people. For the most part, all of these abducted people seem to be connected to the Moonrunners in some way. It does also seem that basically every other person in Hilberg is in some way involved in the Moonrunners. There's quite an interesting and very large clandestine organisation, and that was kind of what was really bigged up in the latest session with the meeting with the Moonrunners. They met Cyril, who appeared by all accounts to be the leader of that organisation, though there was a little aside just as the group were leaving suggesting that Cyril is only the vice master, and there is in fact somebody above him in this particular chapter of the Moonrunners. I say chapter or sect because the Moonrunners, as was mentioned to the party, is a much larger organization than just Hilberg. There is one concentration around Hilberg that is more the I think they're called the Ratgaret branch of the Moonrunners. But there are many more besides, littered throughout Burikrin and beyond. They're maybe not the mafia, but they are certainly organised crime of some variety, mostly involved in smuggling. That's their main game, smuggling, and although in some sense people trafficking, but it's more helping people get asylum across borders rather than abducting people and putting them into bondage and that sort of thing. It's not like that, at least as far as we know. That's not what they're into. Certainly a shady organisation, I think, but perhaps one that has a set of a code, honour amongst thieves, that kind of vibe to them. Anyway, so the group were actually surprisingly cooperative with the Moonrunners, gave them all the information that they have so far about not only the missing people, but about the Red Mages, about the Bone Dagger, about the plot, all that stuff. All very useful information. And of course, when you're that cooperative, you've got to be rewarded in some way. And so they've essentially, as was quipped by Bart in the session, have been offered a blank check by the Moonrunners, saying, if you free these people, because we want them back, if you can, save these people, then, and of course, if you can let us know a bit more about this eerie place and whether it's a suitable place to perhaps use in future by the Moonrunners, then that information and that work will be rewarded by a favour. And that favour could be, whatever you ask for from a powerful organisation. They can do a lot of things. So definitely something I'm sure the players will utilise, their characters will utilise it going forward in this campaign. It's a good ally to have on your side. I'd much rather have a powerful ally than a powerful enemy. Do you not agree? I think in this case, the players most certainly have agreed with that. Especially when you've got the Red Mages, who seem to be shaping up to be a powerful enemy. They're going to need something to help with them, surely, in what's to come in the future. So what we've got coming up with as has been signposted already, is that we've got these captives who've been taken to the Eyrie. It seems the Aarakocra themselves are captives. They're being forced to hunt down these smaller beings and bring them back to the Eyrie for the Manticores, although it hasn't been. They don't know exactly why what they're doing with these people, only that if they don't cooperate, these Aarakocra will be killed, and many have been slain already by the Manticores, as part of their kind of hostile takeover of the Eyrie. Equally, the higher-ups of the organisation, the highest up, the master of the Eyrie, appears to have gone missing or may have been abducted by the Manticores. It's not known. But they're kind of, without the head, the monks appear to be quite rudderless. They have no sense of direction, or if any sort of uprising were to happen against the Manticores, they want to have their master back on side. And the two Aarakocra who are now sort of joined in with the party, that's Kerr and the other one, have been very emphatic about the fact that they need to get the master back. That seems to be their driving force. So, because they need someone who is not only wise and experienced, but also somebody who's very powerful. And the master, make no mistake, I can say that nice and clearly now, the master of the Eyrie is a powerful individual indeed. They can do some very cool things. That is, I guess, when we come across them later on in the campaign, we'll find out more about that. So it seems that shaping up that the Manticores really are the big enemy that our heroes are about to face, as we ended the last session with the group on the road, on the journey to the mountains, to the Eyrie, when they saw these creatures appearing in the distance as the sun set. Some of which have gone into hiding. The Aarakocra have attempted to hide, but we don't know if they've been successful in that. And we know that we've got Malar and Fleeting, that's the cleric and the paladin, standing together to face down these three Manticores who are flying in to have an altercation or perhaps a conversation with the group. So we'll see what happens with that. But as I said, let's pull out the Monster Manual and have a quick look at the Manticores to see what we can expect in their kind of behaviour going forward. Tell I was very prepared for this. So, the Manticores. As it says in the Monster Manual, we're not sponsored by Wizards of the Coast, but thanks, guys. Great game. And these books are very useful. So, on Manticores, the first line in its description says, a monster in every sense of the word. A manticore has a vaguely human head, the body of a lion, and the wings of a dragon. A bristling mane stretches down the creature's back, and its long tail ends in a cluster of deadly spikes that can impale prey at impressive range. Manticores are fierce killers that hunt far and wide for prey. They work together to take down particularly large or dangerous creatures, sharing the meal once a kill is made. A manticore begins its attack with a volley of tail spikes, then lands and uses its claws and bite. When outdoors and outnumbered, it uses its wings to stay aloft, attacking from a distance until its spikes are depleted. A manticore isn't particularly bright, but it possesses a malevolent nature and the ability to converse. In the course of attacking, it denigrates its foes and offers to kill them swiftly if they beg for their lives. If a manticore sees an advantage to be gained by sparing a creature's life, it does so, asking for a tribute or sacrifice equal to the loss of food. And the final section on this, it says, monstrous relationships. Manticores serve wicked masters that treat them well and provide regular prey. A manticore might provide aerial support for an orc horde or a hobgoblin army. Another could serve as a hunting companion for a hill giant chief, or guard the entrance to a Lamia's lair. The manticore's greatest territorial rivals include chimeras, griffins, peritons, and wyverns. Manticores hunting as a pack often have the advantage of greater numbers. In addition to these creatures, manticores fear dragons and avoid them. So, manticores, very well can strike bargains and deals, but will they be in a bargaining, trifling mood with the party when they appear next time? Only time will tell. But there's been other things that have been afoot and other things that are going to be happening or at least touched upon in session 50, which I'm very excited for. Firstly, we're having our second ever guest star on the stream. We've got a guest star coming on for the session on Monday. She'll be joining us. Can't say who it is yet, but she'll be joining us for the foreseeable future until basically that character's arc is done for now. But they've got a new character joining in with the campaign to possibly help, possibly hinder the party, also carrying something of vital significance. And as it turns out, there are going to be some plot lines that are going to be intermingling. I've said before on Campaign Diaries that I like when backstories are integrated into the campaign, but not just that, but when those backstories start to intermingle and work their way around themselves. And we've got a few different plot lines and backstories that seem to be working together and kind of coming together with this whole thing with the Manticores and the Eerie. And I, for one, I'm really excited for the reveal. I wish I could tell you more about it now. But I can tell you what whose backstories it refers to. So obviously, one that's been touched on already has been about finding this cure lycanthropy, this cure curse potion, which Malar has been looking for, because obviously wants to cure the two lycanthropic individuals who are currently stationed at the Temple of the Eights in Hilberg, which Brother Ventrix has been looking after while the group are away, or trying to suppress their lycanthropic instincts. So there's that. That also is tied in with Brucon's backstory and with him wanting to seek out the filter or carafe of serenity. It goes by a few names, but that essentially, I think it does what it says on the tin, something that a potion that will grant complete serenity and peace. That's one of the things that Brucon is looking for. So that backstory tied into with this plot, definitely some advancement with that. And equally, it's the first time we've come across other monks in the world of the Many Lands. So at least during the games, that's very exciting for Brucon. I hope so for Bart as well. And in addition to that, so this new character that's being introduced, their backstory very much going to be very much featured as part of this particular plot line. And Fleeting Look's backstory, and he's been seeking out. He was tasked by Keith, who we understand is the god Omenak, who goes by a few different names. So yeah, he's been tasked by a literal god to seek out a trunk that does not belong. He started his search in Half-Light Forest, which is where he was then nipped by the cockatrice and turned to stone, and then was discovered by Seth and Malar. Well, that little backstory is going to be developed during this next bit of the campaign. So a lot of things all coming together, all nicely coming together. I can see it before me because I can see the overarching plot things that I can't tell to you guys, but those things also become coming together in some way. Obviously, how those things go, it's not determined by me. It's completely determined by our players' choice of action, their dice rolls, and how they choose to progress. But certainly those things will all be touched upon. And it's very exciting times. So if you're not doing so already, please subscribe to the channel, follow us here on Twitch as well, and of course subscribe to us on YouTube. So all of our videos get uploaded to YouTube. So if you can't watch us live, you can catch up with it on there at your leisure. Really do appreciate the support so far, guys. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel. Please continue to do so. I won't tell you to not buy the new merch we have in store, for instance. Please do that. I'm going to be looking at putting in a new line this month as well in the merch store, and we're looking at possibly reviewing our prices as well, as it's our first time doing a merch store, and we've really just gone on the back of what Teespring tells you to do, because we're doing it through Teespring. But any feedback from you guys on pricing, on lines, on the rest of it with merch, please do get in touch with us. You can do so. The quickest and easiest way to do so is on our Discord. So to get onto our Discord, there's a link to that on our Twitch page. Just click the Discord logo. It will take you straight over to our Discord channel, and you can carry on the conversation there throughout the week as well. Just any feedback you guys have really is appreciated, and will help us grow as a channel. And ultimately, that's what I want to achieve, really, to help it grow and to deliver to you guys what you want to see and what you want to be a part of. This journey so far has been it's been definitely over a year now since we started the campaign. And I mean, the other day I had a few minutes to kind of look back over some of our old videos and so on. Eventually I'm going to get an intro video made for on Twitch and for on YouTube. So I was having a quick look back over, and it's amazing to see, like, just looking back at the campaign, how much everyone's grown, how much, like, we've all kind of changed facially a little bit as we've kind of grown older. Equally, just seeing how much the channel has changed over that year, just seeing how much it's developed and how much the tech has upgraded. And it's just been a really rewarding experience, really, to kind of look back and go, okay, that's where we started and that's where we are now. Incredible. There's so much exciting stuff this month, but it seems to be all systems go now that obviously we've still got the situation globally with the pandemic, but it seems now everyone's starting to get back on their feet and starting to kind of work their way into navigating this new world. And now we've got definitely back onto our feet with now the second campaign starting. And as I said in the stream on Monday, I will be releasing some publicity soon, more information about our collaborative stream, which is going to be at the end of this month. It's going to be on the 30th of September. It's myself from Slice and Dice hosting, joined by some great D&D creators, creatives and creators. And in fact, I'll get as you know, as we're here now, I can give you the full lineup for the first time ever. So our full lineup then. So we've got myself, we've got Family Fantasy RPG, we've got Tabletop Crafter, we've got Dungeon Masters Workshop, we've got Aqua Otter Illustrations. I now need to bring up the list because I'm going to forget somebody. Mad Hat's Cats, and finally, I know them as Bieber17, but they are actually the Frostwalkers podcast, all coming together for a one-off collaborative one-shot session, which should be so much fun. Final Fantasy RPG, Colin from there is DMing this game for us. I'll be just a player in it, but also posting it here on the channel. From what I've seen so far, it looks like we're all going down the anthropomorphic route, so we're sure to be in for quite a few laughs and other furry gags. No, not furries though. Not doing that. But anyway, certainly it's going to be weird. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be fun. I hope you can join us. Add to your diaries Wednesday. That's September the 30th. That's 6 p.m. British Standard Time. Or I think 1 p.m. If you're on Eastern Time. So yeah, come and join us for that. Write in your diaries, 30th of September. Be there or be squared. And of course, next time on Monday is our 50th ever session of the Many Lands campaign. It's a big one. Come join us for that. That's 6 p.m. on Monday here on the channel. Until next time, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. And we'll see you on Monday. Bye.